Welcome back. All right, thank you, everyone. I want to thank you for being here today. As you can see, we have almost every city department in the room, so if any questions specifically for city departments, we'll be able to answer them when the time, at the end of this, when I'm done with my remarks. We're gearing up for a major storm. The storm's going to start tonight, roughly after midnight, and should wrap up sometime tomorrow evening, early to moderate tomorrow evening. Both morning commute and afternoon commute tomorrow will be affected by the snow. Right now in Boston, we're expecting between 12 and 18 inches of snow. That could change, hopefully, to the lower side. At some points, we could have snow falling from 1 to 3 inches per hour. We will have excessive winds tomorrow. We will be enacting a snow emergency starting tonight at 7 o'clock in the city of Boston. The Boston Public Schools are closed for tomorrow. Our Boston Center for Youth and Family sites are all closed tomorrow. Our public library branches will be all closed tomorrow, and only emergency personnel will be reporting to work here in the city of Boston tomorrow. We're busy right now getting the roads ready before the storm hits. We have 26,000 tons of salt. We got our delivery last week, so we're in good shape for the salt. We're going to continue to work around the clock to make sure that our roads are clear. At the height of the storm, we'll have about 700 pieces of equipment on the streets clearing the snow. That's both what we have and also the private contractors. Our top priority is making sure that we keep all our roads clear for emergency vehicles. We're also we're going to focus on the major roadways, sidewalks, and crosswalks to make sure that we can try and clear. We can't clear every crosswalk in the city, which I'll talk about in a second. One of the lucky things with the storm, if we have a lucky thing with the storm, we're not going to see severe high tides like we did last week. So we do not anticipate any coastal flooding, and it will not be an issue here in the city. We're going to continue to monitor the forecast very closely and keep people updated on any potential risks that we have. When we call a snow emergency, that means there's a parking ban will be in effect tonight from 7 o'clock until whenever we call it off to the duration of the snow emergency. Free and discounted parking is available for Boston residents in garages and lots starting at 5 o'clock tonight. So on your way home, you can park on these lots. We will begin ticketing and towing at 10 p.m. this evening because as the snow starts, we want to stay ahead of the snow. We will assess when it's safe to lift a snow emergency after the snow and all the wind winds down here in the city. When we lift the parking ban, residents will have 2 hours to get their cars out of paid lots before they have to pay regular rates. The 48-hour space saver rule is in effect. That means you have 48 hours to use an object to save a parking spot after the end of the snow emergency. When we lift the emergency, from that point, 48 hours, you have a chance you can save your spot. After that, we'll be going around with our public works crew as we pick up trash, picking up space savers. That's after the snow emergency happens. This applies in every neighborhood in the city except the South End, which the South End created their own program to end the space saver rule in the South End. We'll be activating our Emergency Operations Center tomorrow. Boston Police, EMS, and Fire will have increased presence, and they'll be ready to assist people in every neighborhood where need be. The Boston Police are going to be available to help emergency personnel like doctors and nurses get to work. They're only going to be driving doctors and nurses. We're not going to be driving other people in the city of Boston. If you are an emergency personnel who needs a ride or transport, please call 311 to be connected. Or call your police department directly, but if you call 311, we'll be able to hook you up with the police dispatch to get you a ride if you're a doctor or a nurse. The storm's going to affect trash and recycling collections. There'll be no pickup tomorrow in the city of Boston, and there'll be no pickup tomorrow, and there'll be other adjustments throughout the week. So in areas like the Back Bay and Charlestown, different areas, we want you to go to boston.gov or download our Trash Day app to find out if your neighborhood will be affected. All other areas of the city of Boston, if you have normal pickup, it's treated as if it's a holiday. So your trash pickup will be the following day. After the storm winds down, temperatures are going to remain low. We won't see much melting this week, so a lot of this snow will be on the streets for at least a week. And we're looking at another storm coming in sometime next week, so try and do your best to get down to pavement when you're shoveling because of that reason. Like I said, this is a major storm. The snow is going to fall very quickly. There are many ways the public can help us stay ahead of this storm. We're asking people to stay off the roads. We'll let asking people to let the plows do their work. If you have to travel, we're asking you to please take public transportation. The MBTA will be on a reduced schedule. For more information on the T, you can go to the mbta.com. If you decide to drive, we're asking you to be very careful and watch out for pedestrians because it will be whiteout conditions tomorrow. I'm asking all private employers to allow your workers and your staff to work from home tomorrow. Property owners in Boston must clear the snow and ice from their sidewalks, curbs, and abutting their properties, excuse me, which I want to happen there. You have to create a 42-inch path for people using wheelchairs and strollers. And the last time, 2 weeks ago, when we had a snowstorm, a lot of crosswalks weren't shoveled. We got a lot of calls in here asking the city to clear those crosswalks. We can't clear them all. So we're asking you, if you live on a corner and you have a crosswalk on your corner, part of your sidewalk, we're asking you to shovel that out. We're also asking you to shovel your hydrants, catch basins, or crosswalks so it's clear. We'd appreciate if you could help us with that. That's something that's really important. Again, 2 weeks ago, we got a lot of calls in here about crosswalks not being shoveled. What happens, people generally tend to use the crosswalk as an area to store the snow, and then that takes the crosswalk and the handicap accessibility out for people for a long time. We want people to be safe, clearing away any exhaust pipes before you start up your car or any exhaust pipes coming, any vents coming from your home. Make sure you shovel those spaces out. I would suggest you don't wait for the snow to stop to shovel because if we get the full 18 inches, that's a lot of snow to be shoveling. It's a lot of work. So we're asking you to go out there and gradually do 2 or 3 shovels if you can to keep the sidewalks clear, and it's better for you as well. If you have neighbors who are elderly or who have health issues, we're asking you to please help them out as well with shoveling, creating a pathway for them, 42 inches. If you see somebody in need of help or somebody out in the cold, we're asking you to call 911. Police, fire, EMS will show up and take care of the situation. Our EMTs are ready to respond to any cold-related injuries or illnesses. Both of our shelters are open 24/7 year-round, Woods Mullen and 112 Southampton Street. Our engagement center will be open as well. That's behind Southampton Street from 7 a.m. tomorrow to 7 p.m. And then we're going to encourage anyone that goes into our engagement center to go into the shelter after for protection. Our street outreach teams have been working hard to encourage folks to come off the street and go into shelter, and we've had high numbers of people going into shelter, so we feel good about that, but we also want to make sure if you see anyone out there that might hang out in a certain area that you see that's out there tomorrow during the storm, just please call 911 so we can try and get them into shelter. We're going to continue to work with our partners and monitor the forecast and keep everyone informed. We're going to work very closely with the state, so we use our services together. I want to encourage everyone to go, if you need information, go to boston.gov/winter. That's where you'll find the latest information on public transportation, on the parking lots, on the tow lots, and also you can look at trash. We're asking you can call 311 for information on all different types of topics. If you have not an emergency-related situation, call 311. Please be patient. If you're calling in, just be patient. We will get to you. We're putting on extra additional staff starting this afternoon into tomorrow and tomorrow night, and we'll have additional staff on Wednesday as well, taking any calls that you might have. They will answer your call as soon as they get it, and I promise you we will get to your streets, supply your streets. You can call them in, but just be patient with us. So if you see the first snow in the morning and you wake up and you feel your street hasn't been plowed, there's a good chance it has been plowed. It's just that it's snowing so quickly, it's going to gather quick, so the plow's going to be running on a rotating basis. I encourage everyone to sign up, if you haven't already done it, for our Alert Boston system. We will notify you by text, email, or in case of any emergencies or updates that we might have. And the following City of Boston, you can follow City of Boston on Twitter to stay up to date. Again, I want to thank all the first responders and city workers for helping us get in touch with the storm. I want to thank the press for being here today, for getting our information out there. We had a meeting in this room earlier today with all the city departments, from our elderly commission to our housing authorities, to our schools, to our water and sewer, to talk about all of the different situation scenarios that might happen. With that, any questions?
It sounds like you're expecting a pretty extraordinary impact and different from previous storms on the city.
Yeah, it feels like we haven't really seen this type of storm since 2015. We've had storms in 16 and 17 and a couple this year, but it seems like this one is going to be a big one. It started out smaller numbers and increased. Unlike the last storm, which started out big, went small, and went big again, we're getting ready for it, and we're taking this one very serious.
Mayor, does the spacing policy include the south end, or are there any
No,
exceptions?
south end's exception. Yeah,
Mayor, are you worried about?
sorry.
This storm, it sounds like you're telling people not even try to come into work, or you're hoping employers let people not work. You're pretty much looking for the city to shut down.
Yeah, the city, I think we're gonna have that, and I think the governor will probably talk later on about, East Coast. I think that's pretty much gonna be a consistent trend along the east coast of Massachusetts. The weather forecasters, your meteorologists have said, you know, we're in this catchy area. And it doesn't, I think last night there was a hope it could potentially go out to sea a little bit, but it doesn't seem like it is. It seems like it's coming, if anything, it's going more west.
Do you think the multiple day impacts realistically, even when the snow stops?
Potentially. If we get 18 inches of snow, we'll be here tomorrow talking about the next day, potentially.
Are you worried about the cumulative impact of so many storms hitting in so many different ways, you know, on trees, on snow melt causing
Good
flooding?
question, thank you. Yeah, we're really concerned about the trees. I think we had something like 267 open cases 2 weeks ago. We're down to 20 now. With the wind that we've had in the last couple of storms, with the rainstorm a week ago, and then the snowstorm last week, the wind has really made the roots vulnerable, and some of the trees haven't fallen over, but we're seeing a lot more access to a lot more visibility with roots, so we're concerned about that. I'm concerned about that with the high winds as well. I think we've had probably more trees go down this year than any other year, so I am worried about that.
What about the cost of all these storms? Are you looking for help from the state on this?
I'm not sure about this one yet. I mean, that depends on an emergency. I know the last storm, the governor declared a state of emergency, so we'll be able to recoup some money from that storm. We won't know till the end, till we see what we get. I mean, it's still too early on that. If we get 18 inches of snow, there's potential that we'd be looking for some money. I'm not sure how much we've spent on the budget yet, but I think it's getting to a point now where it's, you know, we're getting to the point where we're coming to an end of what we've allocated, and we'll start to look at what's happening. As far as school days, it's going to extend the school year to June 26th now. I believe this is our fourth snow day of the year, so we still have 3 days left to move around here without having to think about going into July, but we wouldn't be able to go into July, but we'd have to think about a Saturday. Right now, we still have time under the umbrella.
You speak about power outages, and are you confident the utilities have the resources necessary?
Yeah, we stay in constant contact with utilities, so when we have our briefings, the utility companies are on the phone or they're here. So, I mean, I think that they you know, our infrastructure has held up pretty good in Boston over the last couple of months with the major storms we've had, but obviously this wear and tear on the utilities, eventually, potentially something could happen. So I'm not fully concerned yet, but in the case of emergency where we have to evacuate a neighborhood, we have emergency management ready to go. We have our Boston Center for Youth and Families. We could open a shelter if we need to, if an area lost power for an extensive period of time. We're ready to go on that.
Are you confident the T will be able to give the service that it can?
I think they're going to do their best. I mean, I think, again, you know, I have some concerns with anything above grounds. You know, you're talking, you know, anywhere from 12 to 18 inches of snow falling between, you know, 6 and 8 at night. A lot of that's going to be 6 and 12, the heavy stuff. I think it's going to cause damage. Your car can't get around that fast, so it's going to affect at some point transportation. So there will be delays tomorrow, I believe. I don't think. I mean, I'm hopeful that T doesn't shut down like it has in the past. I think, again, that's a question for the state, but I think, you know, I think expect delays. If you're taking commuter rail, expect delays, because, you know, again, it's rather be safe than sorry on that. But I think you'll probably see some major delays tomorrow, potentially. That depends on how much snow we get. I mean, again, if this thing hopefully goes out to sea and we get 6 inches, then all this is just a show.
Yeah, but as far as what you're expecting, it sounds like you think you have to be pretty lucky to avoid multiple days of school cancellations anyways, because it's tough to get those roads ready for school.
Yeah, we haven't. I mean, it's not just this. It's not just the roads. It's the facilities and the amount of snow that's coming tomorrow. In the past, other storms is plowing. Tomorrow's snow removal. So it's not just simply plowing and opening up a pathway. It's also removing for parking lots and things like that and around schools. Some of our schools are pretty big, so we have lots of sidewalks to shovel and a lot to do there. So again, I'm hopeful. Our plan is to be open on Wednesday, regardless of how much snow we get tomorrow. But again, I think it's too early to talk about that right now.
Last question.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for the clap.
That's awesome.